In less than 4 weeks, this site has been transformed from a patch of grass to a canal line and half a bridge. I am back on the Wey and Arun Canal at Rooks Hill already. Now, if you saw my video very recently, they were just starting to dig out for the bridge abutments and stuff. That is progressing well, which we'll see as we go up ahead. But first of all, we're at the other end from where we started that last video. And this through here is where the lock would have been. And this is actually the third phase. I got it wrong in my first video. The third phase is to build the lock here. As you can see, there's a cut through here. And then the first phase is the section we're in here. The second stage is the bit beyond, which brings it up to the Birtley bridges. Now we'll have a little look through this site now, and you can see quite a lot going on. I can't quite get to it yet, but over this side, you know where it is because there's this branch falling from this tree here. There is a stream running across, and there's a culvert underneath here. That's pretty dry at the moment due to the extreme heat we've had in the UK, but that's actually a good thing because it helps what's happening over there, which we'll get to in a minute. But we're walking through the canal line now, and as you can see, the line suddenly takes a sharp turn to the right. And if you remember my first video, they were digging just out here, ready for a bridge to go in. This is the old line, and we go up to there right now. So the section I'm on now is actually the old canal. The canal would have followed straight behind me. There's a farm track there which they can't go through. Plus this line would have been full of all sorts. Once it was filled in, they would have been sort of all farm waste and stuff put into it. So it would cost a lot of money to dig this out and remove it. So that's not been able to go on the track, and with that waste, they put a diversion in. And this diversion goes around down through here, and there's the bridge going in there and across. It's only a few metres over, but it saves a lot of hassle for the trust. And this section here, where it's going to bend around this corner, is going to be like a nature area, and some of this will be dug back out and filled as a pond within the canal water, and you'll have a slight winding hole there as part of it as well. So across from the other side of that nature area we have the main bank of the canal. Now this is going to be a slight embankment all the way around, so they're going to have to build it up and strengthen it. And as you can see, what they've started through down here, you've got a line across here on the mud. They are starting to prepare for a wall. And they're using the legato blocks, which are like the Lego blocks which I've shown you before on canals like the Swansea Canal, where they used to build solid block walls, and they look like a piece of Lego. They've got little bits coming out the top, and they've got holes in the bottom for it all to slot together. And they will go down into here. They'll put a concrete pad into there as a base. They will put the blocks on top of there, and further up they'll have gabion baskets. And that will create a nice retaining, strengthening wall across here to hold the canal bank in there. So underneath this section is the culvert. You can see that tree again over there, look for reference. And down here on this bank, they are currently building the walls for the end of the culvert. Now there's been some WRG groups and KES-CRG down here over the past couple of weeks, and that's why this job has progressed so quickly. That's a good team, solidly for 2 weeks, every day down here restoring. It will soon go back to 2 days a week with the local trust volunteers carrying on, but the start that the WRG groups have made is going to help this project along, because the kind of real heavy duty stuff is already done.
Hi, I'm Gordon Powell, a trustee with the Wey and Arun Canal Trust, and standing at the site of our Rooks Hill Bridge. Just 4 weeks ago, when I was first here, we dug the first sod of grass out the ground. So everything you see behind me and around me has been achieved in just 4 weeks. We have benefited hugely from 2 visiting work groups from the Waterway Recovery Group organisation, one of which is on site this week. If you're local and you want to help us, head to our website. You can look up the volunteering pages and see how you might want to get involved as a volunteer, or look at our Rooks Hill appeal page if you'd like to make a financial donation to our work.
And then coming down here we have the other side of that culvert, and if you look just up in the trees over there, you can see that branch for reference again. And coming down, they are building a big concrete block wall here. Basically it's like a U shape, and what they do is they carry that on, and you're going to get to kind of height of the canal almost here on this side. You can see it's on a big concrete base again, and if you look onto here, you've got the wall ties being put in place here And the reason why they got wall ties is this isn't like one of the precast ones that you get. This is going to have a brick face to it, so it's going to look more traditional. And this takes the culvert from under here, which you can see is damaged on this end. Now, obviously the canal never came over this far before, so this has to be extended slightly. And they've got some black tubing similar to what's up there, but a bit bigger, that's going to go into here and take this culvert right through here. And look at that brickwork. All still in place several hundred years later. That's the strength of that round shape that you get. That smaller pipe is going to be for a spill weir up on the canal up there, which is going to keep this pound level correct, and that's going to run down into a second outlet on this chamber over here.
So hi, it's Ian again. We're down here as part of the leadership team for a work camp for the whole week, and we're working here to provide a new outfall for the culvert that comes under the canal at this point. So you can see there's water comes down the pipe. We're building a new structure to stop it all washing away and make sure that the bank stays put. There's a slight diversion for the canal channel being done, so the bank is going to move towards us, and that's why we need a big retaining structure and steel. So all volunteers again, as usual, but quite skilled, and looking forward to having at least half the structure done by the end of the week. The group that we volunteer with is out once a month for a weekend on different projects all around the south of England. So we've been at Pewsham, we're going to meet at Waymore Bridge, back at Pewsham again, and certainly here in the winter to deal with some ash dieback issues. So come and join us. It's Keskirg, it's on my shirt. Get in touch via Facebook, website, etc.
So in just under a month, this site has blown up. Now, I didn't put that first video up because we were waiting for a few things to happen. The Wey and Arun wanted to get their press on it, which is happening this week as I'm filming. So these videos are going to be almost back to back, but there was about 4 weeks difference between them. And the progress is insane. And that wouldn't happen without all these groups that are coming down here and the volunteers on the Wey and Arun Canal.
So behind me, you can see the result of work, first to dig the excavation, then work of one of our internal groups of the Trust to lay a concrete base foundation, around 40 cubic meters of concrete to create the base for the bridge. And then the first visiting group last week have built the formwork for the first raise of the bridge abutments and created that and completed that concrete pour. And then our second group from the Kent and East Sussex Canal Restoration Group are now building the formwork ready for a second concrete pour tomorrow. So 4 weeks and a few days in, we'll have 2 completed bridge abutments. Work is also taking place extending and repairing a culvert that is required, and work has also taken place to start digging out foundations to create the banks and concrete channel for the canal cut just to the south of the bridge. So fantastic progress by our own volunteers and a huge contribution from the Waterway Recovery Group.
So you can see here, look, you can see the metal sections in here, and that's a cutout on that concrete wall, and that goes into the base where a pre-cast bit is cut out of there and back onto the other side. So that is for your stop planks. So that is to be able to shut off a section of canal, and that channel will be dug back out. It's just filled up with stuff, and an oak beam will go in there and then more on top, and that creates that watertight seal. And then from this height here, you can see that's under the water level. The water level will come up to here somewhere, and that's going to be bricks then all the way up on this and the next pour, which will allow a much nicer looking bridge than a concrete slab. So the slab going across the top here is going to be with a former they've already used somewhere else. It's really good that the Canal Trusts are managing to reuse stuff rather than having to make a complete new former for everything that they do. And these forms that you can see up here are going to have been used on every section and just modified. It's got a slight curve to it. It's not like a traditional big humpback bridge. It's a much gentler curve. For the strengthening of these things, you've got rebar inside, and you can see where that goes directly into the concrete. That'll be tied with various other bits, and that will really secure this structure. Then what you've got in here, you can see these bits sticking out on the sides here, and these will be tightened up. They just spin around on this thread, and they go into plastic. And this formwork here is for the next pour. So you can see it's like a ply and CLS frame, But what will happen is if you don't secure it and really hold it together through the middle, then that will bow and it will fail, and you'll lose the integrity of this box. So that, when tightened, holds together both sides of this box, and that allows a much stronger formwork. And what happens then is, once that's done, these get removed, pulled out, and it just leaves those sort of empty bars in the middle there. You can see just in the bottom here where they've got those plastic bits sticking up just there. That is where the rebar is going to go down, which ties into the previous slab poured on the bottom. So where we stood now would be the top of the bridge, and there'd be a slight arch, kind of probably up to about the height of my head here. It's incredible progress here though. So I think we'll be keeping an eye on this one now for the next year or so while they finish this off. So then this will be filled with water and connected to the Berkeley bridges. That will probably then be down on there where we started. They'll probably put a bund in, which will allow for the water to fill up here, and then they can work on the third phase of the lock soon after.
So what's next? Having built the two abutments, work will start on the 4 wing walls. The whole bridge will be constructed in concrete, including an arch over to connect the 2 abutments. Once the concrete construction of the bridge and the wing walls is completed, the whole structure will be clad and covered in bricks to give a nice brick look finish. Some 11,000 bricks plus some specials will have to be laid for the bridge and the wing walls, and then topped off with some nice concrete coping stones.
So thanks to Casco and thanks to WRG Groups for all their work here, as well as the Wey and Arun volunteers. It's a great project to see, and next time we see, there'll hopefully be a bridge being put in here. Have a great day.